Today, we're going to dig into the characteristics and general ickiness of a creepy crawly critter that none of us want to see in our homes or in our buildings. And they say if you see one, there could be 100 more you don't see. At least that's what I discovered when I Googled it. Today, we're going to gather some great information and let Google have a rest. I welcome Rob Fernback with Complete Pest Solutions. Rob, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Jeff, for having me. I looking forward to this month's episode.
I think you're kind of excited about this bug, the
I am.
cockroach.
Not too many people get excited about cockroaches, but today I am.
All right. Well, let's get started. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the types of cockroaches there are out there and maybe some of the common ones and what we might see in different areas?
There are over 4,500 different species of cockroaches, but really only out of those 4,500, 30 of them are considered to be pests. Out of those 30, there are 5 that are more popular, I guess you could say. So you have the German American cockroaches, Australian and Oriental cockroaches, and then one that a lot of people don't know of are brown banded cockroaches. Those are native to like Ohio, Pennsylvania. They live in wooded areas. So those are your popular 5.
Yeah, when you see one, I guess the question isn't what kind is it, it's just it's a roach and you want to get rid of it. But interesting that there's so many types.
Yeah, I know. And they all kind of look similar too. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes I mean, one could look exactly the same, it's just a little bit smaller. And that's how you differentiate it.
I've heard like in Florida, they're bigger. Let's talk now about some interesting facts about roaches. What makes them an interesting bug?
All right, so just some interesting facts. They are considered to be cannibals. They run super fast. They can run up to 3 miles in 60 minutes. They can survive 1 whole month without eating anything. They hold their breath really long. The most interesting fact, I would say, a cockroach could live for 1 week without its head. So you can decapitate a cockroach, and that sucker will continue to live for at least a week. That was pretty much the most interesting fact that I know of cockroaches. They can trigger asthma if you're asthmatic. Not all cockroaches can fly. I mean, they have the wings, but not all can fly. And they are very flexible. They will fit in to places that you wouldn't think they could fit into. So it makes them hard to treat. It makes them hard to find.
I quit listening when you said when you cut off their head, they can live.
Yeah, that's they say the headless horseman, the headless cockroach.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about extermination processes later. I guess cutting their heads off is not going to fit into that. So
not unless you want to wait a week.
Yeah. We think about you might have a clean home, a clean building, right? You keep everything cleaned up.
Yep.
They still can show up. They can still infest. Can you talk about how that happens and the timeline from when you might get 1 or 2 in your house or your building to when you have a really big problem?
So even if you keep a clean house, you're always getting things from the outside coming in. Your mail, food. Luckily, I've never run into this. If I'm opening my mail and a cockroach comes out, I'm going to see it. But things happen. Usually the reason why your home or commercial building will get infested is because of an unkept area. Dirt and grime, food and water sources they're attracted to, they'll come in from outside. If you have a lot of trash buildup, you're going to find roaches. Another thing, your next door neighbors. You might keep a clean home, your neighbor might not, and those things are going to move. They reproduce rapidly. Each birthing cycle they have about 200 to 300 offspring. So they need somewhere to go. So they are going to travel next door. But for the most part, they're coming in from outside sources that do have those issues: dirt and grime, food, trash. That's what really attracts them.
I was debating, Rob, whether to share this story, but I'll make it brief.
Let's
I
hear
know we
it.
had a neighbor who had bad roach. It was not, just a neighbor. And when they had their house exterminated, we saw those things coming towards us outside. That's kind of a scary thought to think that it could just happen. So it's good to know.
Yeah. No, yeah, and it's funny. This is the second time that you mentioned, if you see one or two, there's never one or two. You might only see those one or two, but you better believe there's more lurking in cracks and crevices of your home or business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Let's talk now about the health hazards and concerns because obviously you don't want them, but there's a bigger picture here. Talk about that and maybe the psychological impact some may suffer. They have them, they're gone, but they still feel that impact.
No, absolutely. So, roaches are known to be an allergen. They're also known to trigger asthma. Depending on the severity of the infestation and the location in which you live, um, they can cause a laundry list of issues. Some as far as the plague, um, leprosy. Those are the more severe end of the spectrum. So if you live in a hot, humid environment, you're more prone to getting the nastier elements and diseases. But it's funny that you mentioned the psychological impact. I read once there was a study done that has shown people who have lived through a roach infestation, they've suffered depression, anxiety, insomnia, even had nightmares. Um, the study showed that you were two or three times more likely to suffer those ailments than people that haven't lived through a roach infestation. So I thought that was pretty interesting. You always get that icky factor, as you mentioned earlier, like, ew, gross, but you never think you're going to have a lingering psychological effect like depression. And I mean, I can understand anxiety, maybe even nightmares, because you're sleeping. You can imagine one of those crawling up your arm and into your mouth. But but yeah, man, it was pretty interesting to find that out.
Yeah, it's that imagination we have that can be a problem.
Well, the reason for the sicknesses isn't necessarily the roach itself, but what it leaves behind.
Hmm.
It's feces, urine, saliva, digestive fluids. Those are the things that they'll sit on a surface of something. You'll touch it, and then you'll rub your eye or pick something out of your teeth, and you know how filthy your hands could get just from touching your cell phone. So that's really where those illnesses come into play.
Yeah, that makes sense. The bugs themselves may not be the issue. It's what they leave behind or do. I mean, I saw on a social media post recently about mosquitoes being used as a food. I thought that was interesting, but that's
Listen, people have deep fried cockroaches as a food,
I
chocolate covered
wondered. I didn't want
cockroaches.
to ask, but that's true.
Not for me. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Or
Okay.
crickets. Crickets is another one. Maybe not cockroaches. Crickets.
I will Google that later. So
Yeah.
let's talk about treatment because if you've got them, how do you get rid of them? How long does it take to get rid of them from a home or a building?
So we like to set up a month-long service plan. So what we really focus on when we treat cockroaches, we'll go into the home or office. We have a roach gel that is kind of like a bait. We will go around and we will bait all your cabinets, all your appliances, anything that's on top of your countertops, your desks. We have a chemical dust that also attracts the roaches. We literally take off the electrical outlets, dust behind the electrical outlets, pipe chases. We treat all the baseboards around the interior of the home, and then the exterior base of the home, windows, doors. I've been in uh, manufacturing plants that have roach issues. we open up their machinery and we'll dust inside of the machinery because guess what? There's roaches in there. So we have a very thorough plan, but we like to set it up as a month-long treatment. You do a treatment per week until that infestation is taken care of. And usually after that month, you're good.
Anything to add that you want our viewers to know about that we might have missed?
You know, it's just to stay on top of it. When you see one, there's definitely more. There's never just one. Rapid reaction is key. Contact your local pest control operator, and we'll take care of it.